Good afternoon, and welcome to the 2019 Fall St. George's White Coat Ceremony. I would like to recognize the presence of Honorable Nicholas Steele, Minister of Health, Social Security, and International Business, Honorable Pamela Moses, Minister with responsibility for tertiary development, skills development, and educational outreach, Senator the Honorable Simon Steele, Minister for Climate Resilience, the Environment, Forestry, Fisheries, Disaster Management, and Information, Dr. Zhaoyang Chen, Ambassador for the People's Republic of China to Grenada, Mr. Joaquin Montserrat, Deputy Chief of Mission to Barbados, the Eastern Caribbean, and the OECS, Embassy of the United States of America, Dr. Anthony Tabaya, Keynote Speaker, Dr. Richard Olds, Provost, Dr. Richard Olds, President, Dr. Glenn Jacobs, Provost, Mr. Brandon Legrenade, Vice Provost for Institutional Advancement, Dr. C.V. Rao, Dean of Students, Mr. Marios Lucas, Dean of Basic Sciences, School of Medicine, Dr. Neil Olson, Dean of the School of Veterinary Medicine, Dr. Lucy Eugene, Dean of the School of Arts and Sciences, Dr. Callum McPherson, Dean of Graduate Studies, faculty, staff, specially invited guests, parents, students, ladies and gentlemen. I am Sri Batu, a proud St. George's University School of Medicine alum and your Master of Ceremonies today. I currently practice palliative medicine at Mayo Clinic, Jacksonville, Florida. Previously, I worked at the Cleveland Clinic and the Veterans Administration, practicing physical medicine and rehabilitation. Being part of graduate medical education has always been a rewarding aspect of my career. It's an incredible honor to welcome all the incoming students to this rite of passage in your medical education. I remember being where you are 16 years ago and wondering about your future. I want to tell you that choosing St. George's University School of Medicine was one of the best choices I made, because while I learned so much from the faculty and my fellow students, I also developed life experience from living in a new country and adapting to new experiences. I was a student in Grenada when a Category 5 hurricane named Ivan hit the island. And I saw leadership, friendship, and diplomacy like I've never seen since. I continue to use the life lessons I learned here every day in my career. Whenever I speak about St. George's, I call it the greatest adventure of my life. Today marks the beginning of your great adventure into medicine. As a physician, you are charged with healing the mind, body, and spirit. And as an alum, my words of wisdom to you are: 1, treat each of your future patients as individuals. Get to know them and find out what is important in their lives. 2, help guide patients to make medical decisions based on their values, not your values. 3, practice safely and ethically. Pause and seek help when needed. 4, learn from everyone in your healthcare team. Diversity of thought strengthens your understanding. 5, have faith that your traits of passion and grit, which brought you to Grenada, will help carry you through your career. And lastly, but most importantly, err on the side of compassion when making difficult decisions. Now I'd like to share with you a brief history of this ceremony. In 1993, the Arnold P. Gold Foundation created the White Coat Ceremony at Columbia University's College of Physicians and Surgeons to promote humanism in medicine. With guidance from the Gold Foundation, St. George's created our own White Coat Ceremony in 1996, which was long before many other U.S. medical schools. In 2003, the Gold Foundation founded the Gold Humanism Honor Society, an international society dedicated to the promotion of humanism, professionalism, and ethics in medical practice and education. Dr. Arnold Gold passed away in 2008 at the age of 92. He was an international advocate for humanism in healthcare. We are honored to have hosted Dr. Gold and his wife Sandra as keynote speakers for our spring 2005 White Coat Ceremony. SGU's chapter of the Gold Humanism Honor Society is based in the Bioethics Division of the Department of Clinical Skills and supported by the Dean of Medicine's office in New York. Our chapter established the Humanitarian Student Organization in 2009, through which basic science students continue to promote humanism across the SGU and Grenadian communities. Chapter members are nominated by their peers and inducted during their clinical training when they participate in ongoing chapter projects. Now it is my pleasure to welcome to the podium Dr. Glenn Jacobs, Provost of St. George's University.
Thank you. Thank you. Honorable Pamela Moses, Senator the Honorable Simon Steele, Mr. Chao Yongshen, Mr. Jochen Montserrat, deans, faculty, and staff. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. I would like to welcome all of you to St. George's University and the island of Grenada. A special word of welcome to all the parents, family, and friends present here today. Students, I'm very happy to welcome you in person. I will not be addressing you that often. The next time I probably speak to you as a group will be during your graduation. You will be amazed how quickly that'll be. You have come here with great intellect. You have and will gain lots of knowledge while being at SGU. But I trust that during your time here, you will also develop your wisdom. John Isso, best-selling author, explains it so well in his book, The 5 Secrets You Must Discover Before You Die. Wisdom is different and fundamentally more important than knowledge. Knowledge is the accumulation of facts, whereas wisdom is the ability to discern what matters and what does not matter. Unless we can discover what really matters, we cannot find the true meaning in life. So, I will encourage you to take time to explore Grenada and get to know this great community. I am looking forward to interacting with many of you during the barbecue on Sunday, and it is now my pleasure to introduce to you the President of St. George's University, Dr. Richard G. Olds.
Well, good afternoon. Well, I was introduced by Glenn. I've been the president of St. George's University for about 5 years. Prior to that, I was actually a dean of a U.S. medical school in Riverside, California. And I've been in the medical profession my entire career. Now, as a result of that, I've been in many white coat, can you guys hear me? Usually no trouble hearing me, but okay. Been to many white coat ceremonies. And today, I want to tell you a little good news and bad news. First, I guess I'll start with the bad news. In a few minutes, each of you are going to don that white coat, and unfortunately, you won't be one lick smarter as soon as you put on that coat. But when you put on that white coat, you assume a great deal of responsibility because society has allowed, particularly medical students, but also other health professional students, a unique opportunity to do things that, if you will, normal people don't do. You will listen to the problems of your patients' intimate secrets. You'll be allowed to examine their bodies. You will be present during some of the most stressful and tragic times in their lives. That is a rare privilege that is deemed to you as health professional students. And the white coat, if you will, is a reminder of that responsibility that you carry with you from this day forward, even though none of you will know any more medicine than you do today, probably for many years. Now, in my brief remarks today, I'd like to comment on a few additional aspects of donning the white coat. Now, I'm not sure what our speaker will be speaking about, but generally we'll talk about professionalism and various issues related to being a good doctor. But I want to talk a little bit more about a larger responsibility. Now, most of you don't know this, but I'm actually a tropical disease specialist. In fact, in contrast to the Provost, you probably will see me again because I actually teach in this medical school. As a tropical disease specialist, I spent much of my professional career in developing countries, often third world countries. And I was struck by the fact that many of these countries have among their national heroes physicians, very prominent, for instance, in South America. I'll use the Philippines as an example. That's a country that I have worked in personally for over 30 years. The national hero of the Philippines is Dr. Jose Rizal. Now, to be honest with you, I have no idea whether Dr. Rizal was a good doctor or not. I don't think anybody to this day knows whether he was a good physician or not. But he's the national hero of the Philippines because during the 400-year occupation of his country by Spain, he spoke out against the atrocities of that occupying power, and for that he was put in front of a firing squad and killed. Now, I'm not expecting any of you in this room to stand up to a firing squad for your principles. But the idea is that you have a larger responsibility, not just for your patients, not just for their families, but for your community, your country, and yes, a responsibility to the world, to make it a better place in your role as physicians. I want to congratulate all of you, the class of 2023. God bless, and I'll see you later today.
Thank you, Dr. Olds. It is now my pleasure to introduce Dr. Anthony Tabaya, our keynote speaker. Dr. Tabaya is a professor of psychiatry and clinical professor of internal medicine at Rutgers Robert Wood Johnson Medical School. He earned his medical degree from St. George's University School of Medicine in 1996 and completed postgraduate training in internal medicine and psychiatry. He has embraced clinical practice and academic medicine, serving in leadership capacities in education and consultation psychiatry. Please join me in welcoming my fellow alumnus, Dr. Anthony Tabaya.
All right, thank you. Let's get this right. A little bit, all righty. So, again, the Honorable Nicholas Steele, Honorable Pamela Moses, Senator, the Honorable Simon Steele, Mr. Young Chen, and Mr. Montserrat, as well as university leadership, distinguished guests, faculty, staff, family, and foremost, the unconventional conventionalists, the 2023 class of St. George's University. Welcome. Now, Paul. So today I'm here this weekend, first and foremost for you, to enlist as well as convince you to welcome and be part of a mission that I hope to introduce over the next 15 or 20 minutes or so. My journey, of course, at St. George's was embarked exactly 27 years ago this summer when the wheels of that American Airlines jet touched down, the Bishop International Airport, just like many of you this summer. Quickly, I realized a couple of things. First and foremost, I did not want to be here. I have to own up to that. I certainly did not. I was met with over 24 letters that began with the words, "We regret to inform you." And I quickly met others, although we didn't have white coats at the time, that had the same types of letters. And I actually instantly had very formidable friendships with 6 others that became a very close-knit group. We called ourselves the Losers Club. I was one of 7. We wore that like a badge, and it certainly shaped and motivated a lot of what we did, not only in the 2 years on the island, but certainly our 2 clinical years as well, and for all of us, our future residencies and future careers and profession as physicians. So too you, are you surrounded by people, shoulder to shoulder, donning those white coats today. I do have to mention that if it weren't for some of these people, family and friends alike, I would not have made it off of Grenada 2 years later. I would not have graduated in 1996. There's no doubt about that. So at this point, I'd like to acknowledge and mention my wife, who is here with me today. She actually visited only a few short weeks after that infamous American Airlines flight landed at that airport to visit me. And I know one thing for sure. If Roseanne did not visit me about a month and a half later, and she did not come to this island, I would have left and come to her island in Massapequa. I would have stopped. I would have ended this career, and I have no doubt that we would have been engaged 2 years later, definitely asking her to marry me nonetheless in colonial Williamsburg. I know for a fact that about a year after that, we would have married, and I know that we would have 3 beautiful kids. Those things would have been the same. What would have been different is that I would not be standing before you today, because as an alum, there's no way I would have graduated if she had not visited me that September. There's no doubt about that. The friends that I met, the 7 of us as a whole, meant everything to me with regard to making sure that I crossed that finish line. Now, they were a little bit different than I, though we did share common interests because they were at the top of the class. Only one of us can boast graduating in the bottom 20th percentile of the class in 1996. And it wasn't any of them. None of them failed their step 2. None of them failed their formative OSCE. But we were alike in another way. And you talk about professionalism, you talk about ethics, you talk about compassion. After failing, it was someone named Kelly Dobrinsky that actually snuck away from a clinical rotation one day and drove to my house to meet with my wife to make sure that Roseanne understood that they had my back. I'll never forget that. Matter of fact, Kelly never told me she did it. Roseanne would tell me days later that Kelly paid her a visit and was really worried about me and making sure that she as well as the rest of the group, were going to be there for me. There's no doubt about that. And they were. And we graduated together, and we still keep in touch to this day, very intimately, especially between September and January, as we still play in the same fantasy football league, the first draft of which 27 years ago was right on this island. Right? Now, the trash talking has definitely changed. Whereas they were all focused on me and making sure that the last or the bottom 20th percent would actually graduate with them. They are now in a situation that was very similar, since I'm boasting about 8 world championships in the last 15 years. So none of them accepted my invitation to be here today. So I told them that if they didn't, I would drag their names through the mud as those perennial losers. So I'll leave it up to you. Who is this group, starting with Carl Spector, Darren Blumberg, Kelly Dobrinsky, Rob Dobrinsky, Joe Perno, and Todd Schneider? Are they the same people that are sitting with you today with regard to who will get you over that finish line? Or are they the perennial losers in the Jerry Garcia Memorial Fantasy Football League, that same group? I hope you find your group today, and I hope that upon your graduating, you can reflect back on them and how important these relationships in fact are. After graduation, I ended up at West Virginia University, largely recruited by a professor that I met here, Don Fiddler, who was teaching in the behavioral science module. 1996 is very, very meaningful for me. Of course, that was my graduation year. It was also that year that my son was born, and only 2 weeks later did we watch our Super Bowl together where the Dallas Cowboys beat the Pittsburgh Steelers. Later on, something else resonated very significantly with me, and it really does impact exactly what everything about today is all about. And that is the idea of this white coat and how we respect the laundry, how donning that white coat, after I get done and shut my mouth, you will actually be part of a fraternity that will be bounded together forever. Because in 1996, there was a player that I despised up until that year named Wade Boggs. And only after his celebration in right field at Yankee Stadium that 96 year, after clinching the 2006 World Series, coming back 2-0 against the Atlanta Braves, that I actually cheered him on. Up until then, I couldn't stand him. As a player, of course, not as a person. And that's because I was a diehard Yankee fan. But here Wade Boggs was, donning the pinstripes, donning the laundry, donning the home whites, celebrating out in right field on a horse, that image emblazoned with regard to the 96 World Championship. What is it about laundry that binds us together? It's pretty incredible. Of course, the segue here, too, is in 96. And please, I know this message will resonate with many of us here today. That was the same year that Mariano Rivera, the same Mariano that was the first unanimous inductee to the Baseball Hall of Fame just last year. That Mariano Rivera was told that he is a failure as a starting pitcher. Everybody in here will have a synonymous, a very parallel type of Hall of Fame career, albeit not as a closer, but instead as a physician. I think a profession much, much more important with regard to the future of medicine. So actually I take it back now. In 1996, there was another major development for me, and that is in the welcoming picnic that we attended in the summer. I met with a fellow peer, a classmate that graduated with me, and he turned to me and said that he was really excited to start his internal medicine residency at WVU because of the night float situation. So I turned to him and said, well, what are you talking about? What's night float? And he said, night float, the graveyard shift. It comes on at 8 p. They stay until 8 a.m. so that when you take call, you only take long call up until 8 o'clock. Isn't it going to be great? I said, what are you talking about? And he said, night float. And then he paused and looked at me and said, this is Sanjeev Nanda, again, graduating class of 1996, turned to me and said, you mean to tell me you chose to do your residency in West Virginia and you didn't know about the night float system? I said, I had no idea what you're talking about. So I vetted it with a couple of other residents that were there today welcoming us as the new class, as the intern class. And on the way home, like I always do, I turned to my best friend in the world, my wife, along with my infant son in the car, said, they have a night float system here. This is going to be pretty cool. I mean, I get to come home after call by about 9 o'clock to spend with my family. I didn't know. This is an incredible surprise. So Roseanne reminded me, by the way, you did take a letter home. It's still sealed. It's on our cabinet. You should probably open it up when we get home. I said, I'll do that, but it's incredible. I can't believe what I could be looking forward to right here. So I get home, I open up that letter, and sure enough, there is a night float for internal medicine, and our first months of the combined program are in internal medicine. So I open up that letter, and guess who is on night float starting July 1st, which means tomorrow night. Yours truly. And I turned to her and I said, we got to leave. I said, I can't do this. I mean, I just graduated, and it's June 30th, so I am still a medical student. They're going to have a code pager on me? Are these people crazy? There's no way. I'm going into work tomorrow. So she said, well, you can't be the only one on night float. I said, yeah, it's true. I'm with another intern and some upper-level resident. There's 3 of us in the hospital. There's no way I'm doing this. So she convinced me to go in. The letter did have a personalized note saying that I should be in around 6 o'clock to meet with the team to take the handoffs at 7 o'clock. And I went in for 5. I certainly didn't feel like eating dinner that night. So I'm in at 5 o'clock. I'm toiling around 9 West Ruby Memorial Hospital, just waiting for the other residents to come in. And the first to come in was a resident that, of course, I will never forget. Her name was Kim Hunkley. And to this day, I swear that when she entered that room, there was a halo over her head. Because not only did she get me through that night, the medicine gods were also looking down on me. She was part of 5 of the first 6 rotations that I was assigned at the hospital as an IM resident. So she got me to New Year's in 1997. Remarkable. And I can't spend any more time than I'm allotted with regard to the other stories and anecdotes about Kim and what she meant to me, but suffice it to say I could be up here for hours just for those 6 months alone. Extraordinary person, terrific doctor, but extraordinary person and mentor. January 1997, things changed. I'm over 6 months now in psychiatry, and 2 things hit me like a sledgehammer. First was that I was 6 months behind every one of my psychiatry peers with regard to the fund of knowledge of psychiatry. I had no idea what I was doing. And number 2, socially, they were all calling each other by first names, and I had no idea who anybody was. So I knew the knowledge base would work its way out, or at least I hoped it did. But that social thing was really eating at me. About a month later, Don Fiddler comes up to me and says, Anthony, the close of the current clerkship is coming up. And I have the clerkship students back to my house for dinner and a movie every 6 weeks, and there's always an open invitation for residents and spouses, so you and Roseanne have an open invite. So this is great. So I came home, I said, Roseanne, listen, I am socially inept, and she very kindly interluded, of course you are, I knew that. I said, no, that's not my point. I said, in just 1 week, this Friday, we have to get a babysitter. We have to go to this dinner and a movie. So we did. After the movie 1979 sci-fi horror classic Alien, I have seen it before. We are eating Chinese food, and Don, who is a psychoanalyst, begins his interpretation of what we just saw. He tells us that this movie is about an infant's wish. I don't even know what infants wished. It's about an infant's wish to crawl back up in its mother's womb and destroy her ova so as to remain an only child. I looked at Roseanne and said, we watch the same movie? Because I didn't see any of this. And my wife, who is more traditional than I am, didn't even make eye contact with me. So, again, I'll spare you the other gory details, but suffice it to say that we came full 360, and we were the first to always arrive at Don Fiddler's house, Q 6 weeks, and we were always last to leave. And as recently as 2009, we have been able to integrate his very idea into a comprehensive curriculum back at our medical school that teaches through film and other forms of pop culture, many of which you probably heard alluded to over the first 10 minutes of this speech. With regard to this curriculum, ever since 2009 and its implementation, we've been working to do two things, which I think is going to make everybody here front and center. First is expansion. We look to expand it to other levels of education other than medical students. And today, I'm proud to say that we have educational modules in place for K through 12, high school, undergraduate universities, graduate school. We actually have 2 electives in graduate school at the Graduate School of Biomedical Sciences in New Brunswick. One that's going to start about a week from now, where we teach addiction medicine through analysis of animated Disney classics. That's followed by our 3-credit course in the fall that teaches psychopathology through the horror genre. We call it the Masters of Horror. Beyond that, of course, medical school. We do it for residency training, and we also do it for faculty development, where twice a year, faculty at my university goes to Broadway. And then following the musical, play, etc., we actually meet with the cast, and that talkback, that discussion, allows our CME office to award us a certificate for continuing education credit. So if there's any parents out there who are in the medical field that live in the Northeast and are interested, we should talk. It's actually of particular interest that in a couple of weeks, that is September 12th, we're actually going in for our fall event. And the reason why this is extremely special to me is that we're going to see the play called Boogie Bon. And the reason why this is special is because Boogie Bon was written and is directed by none other than Don Fiddler. So this is really exciting for me to mention his name now a couple of times in this speech. Again, a former professor here at St. George's University. What this all means in terms of current practice and how this really does impart professionalism and compassion in making the narrative of one's personal story mainstream has everything to do with what I would like to read and share with you now. This is a letter that I got, and I really wasn't intending to do anything pertaining to this until I received this just this Monday. Dear Dr. Tobia, last week my daughter had surgery at U of Penn for thoracic outlet syndrome. The medical student on her case was a lovely young man named Chris. When he learned I married a psychiatrist, he started to tell me about his psychiatry rotation and how you taught him during the rotation through film. He clearly enjoyed your teaching. In return, I told him about my days in medical television at UNC Chapel Hill and how there was a psychiatrist there who used to write scripts, and we would watch video scenarios for the medical students to analyze and learn. Then I looked you up online, noting that you completed your residency at West Virginia University in Morgantown. I told Chris that you undoubtedly trained with the same person I worked with at UNC, Don Fiddler. So I had to write to find out. Again, this all starts at St. George's University in Grenada. It's just remarkable that I get this letter the very week I'm invited back for the first time in 27 years to provide this speech. It's crazy. Another article I want to quickly reference is one that was written in Den of Geek. Anybody here familiar with Den of Geek? You guys don't want to admit it. All right, I know half of you guys want to stand up or raise your. Thank you. It's an article on Ready Player One. This is a movie that was adapted to film by Spielberg, originally a book. And the reason why I want to bring it up is because there are well over 100 references made to 80s pop culture in this movie. And after I read the article, just one read over, I actually underlined 64 of those references, having found their way into our comprehensive curriculum back at the medical school. And again, the reason why I want to bring this up, just to give you an idea of how expansive it is what I alluded to earlier, and that is how we're trying to expand this. Yes, it started with medical student education, and we've expanded it to additional levels of education. But I also want to extend it, remaining medical student, but to other universities. And guess what university I want to partner with like nobody else? Everybody right now who has a white coat on their lap, please take out this. Take out your cell phones. I'm going to ask you to do something that I would suggest that no other speaker has ever asked you to do, and power them up. Do not power them up. I want you to get on Twitter, and I want you to follow me. Because what we're going to do right now is we're going to make you connected to an alum that has your career in his best interests. Like every other alum through here and how passionate they are towards medicine, they're just as passionate with regard to teaching and education. And the teaching of education with these students comes first and foremost. I can pronounce it. At my first initial A, Anthony Tobia, my last name, T as in Tom, O, B as in boy, I-A. At Anthony Tobia, and then MD, yes, those initials that you will have at the end of your name in just 4 years. At A Tobia, MD. Well, we started just a few months ago. Sahil and Tim, third and fourth year medical students of St. George's, is to jumpstart a curriculum. And they have already 30 students who are stateside involved in this. A curriculum in psychiatry between these two medical schools to teach through pop culture. And while what Tim and what Sahil have done, trailblaze this class, times 4 hopefully, will boost it and get it to the next stratosphere. We're going to make this happen. So to that end, contact me. Tell me how we're going to do this. Ask me. All the questions are on the table. We need to develop this at the hashtag SGUSO Mission. The M stands for mission. SGUSO Mission. I will be checking daily, and we'll continue this conversation beyond today. In closing, I want to make a couple of final points. Number one, I get that this is the road not taken. I get the motivation that this class has that is unlike any medical student who is currently stateside at their white coat ceremonies. And nobody gets that more than the very people in here, alum and other, administrators, professors, instructors, who have invested their livelihood to making sure that other admissions counselors be proven wrong. You will make it in 4 years. And that's only the beginning, because after that, you will become the future leaders of this field. If I had to do it all over again, and I'll say this very simply, and if I had to choose between some administrators and some admissions offices stateside versus the people that are in this room right now, the people that you are standing or sitting shoulder to shoulder with right now, I choose us. I'm actually choosing that word very cautiously. Again, another pop culture reference. So, one final thought. Today, and the idea that I was here last, or at least my career started here exactly 27 years ago, and it, Chapter 2, is premiering just a week from today, is not lost with me. That 27-year cycle, in a creepy way, really is apropos for me coming back and providing this, in as much as we use Stephen King ad nauseum with regard to teaching psychiatry. So too today, memorializes the passing of Wes Craven, yet another co-author of our curriculum, inasmuch as we focus on that slasher film, 1987, A Nightmare on Elm Street, and teaching sleep pathology at our medical school. But there's something else about today memorializing Craven that is, I think, less spoken of than teaching sleep disorders. I'm not going to give you the answer. We'll talk about it if you really want to know. All right. So, in closing, class of 2023, let's keep in touch, okay, and good luck. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Tabaya, for those inspiring words. And I want to reiterate what you said about the alums. Every single St. George's alum will help a future graduate. You just have to reach out and ask. Now, St. George's University School of Medicine will present to you a white coat symbolizing your entry into the profession and your commitment to uphold the duties and trust associated with medicine and medical training. To assist our keynote speaker and myself with coding you, I now invite several faculty to join us on stage. Our coders include Dr. Crystal Ramprasad, Director of Galen, Dr. Rohit Gupta, Director of Blackwell, Dr. Dion Forrester, Associate Director, Metrodora, Dr. Ewald Marshall, Director, Peabody, Dr. Alina Wade, Assistant Dean of Students, Dr. Anna Cyrus Murden, Assistant Professor, Clinical Skills, Dr. Vahinder Singh, Associate Director, Fleming, Dr. Fimata Sowa, Associate Director, Curry, in recognition of our international enrollment, the Grand Marshal, Dr. Barbara Landon, will call each student by name and state their country of birth. In addition to our faculty coders, myself and Dr. Tobias, we are excited to welcome physician family members who requested to coat their loved ones. Please hold your applause until all students have been coded and keep the aisles clear for the duration of the activity.
Julia Penoyer, Florida. Topazio Scherer, Florida. Din Yuen, New York. Justin Payne, Georgia. Maybelline Ugai, Massachusetts. Luke Leggett, Florida. Sinihao Gawa, Virginia. Michelle Maloney, New York. And Uluwatomi Alade, New York. Stephanie Osuji, New York. Jeremy Mulchan, New York. Alexis Smith, New York. Barbara Okeke, Georgia. Chauncey Labu, Texas. Carrie McCotter, Illinois, coded by her mother, Dr. Krishna Das, USA. Reshma John, New Jersey. Bivav Jagannath, North Carolina. Cheney Outlaw, Baltimore. Timothy Malone, New Jersey. Jacqueline Theodore Montesino, New Jersey. Oops, Jacqueline, I'm sorry, they counted wrong. Jacqueline Theodore Montesino, New Jersey. Amelia Alvarez, Texas. Kemjika Newiki, Texas. Rachel Castillo, Maryland. Saida Sultana, Connecticut. Grace Fitting, Florida. Omar El-Husami, Ohio. Muhammad Badran, California, coded by his brother, Dr. Ismail Badran, SGU class of 2011. Jared Slater, New York. And Christopher DeLeo, New Jersey. Maya Wayne, Florida. Bushra Bangash, Texas. Basma Rana, California. Dalia Basam Farah, California. Bianca Fusalo, Florida. Lindsay Callahan, New York. Alexis Payne, Michigan. Kaylee Stepansky, Arizona. And John Todd Surgeon, New Jersey. Samantha Watkins from the great state of Maine. Zain Quadar, California. Saad Naruddin, Florida. Nicholas Zarilli, Missouri. Faisal Kasim, California, coded by his mother, Dr. Kasim, USA. Patricia Riano Rivero, Florida. Aditi Pandre, Florida. Adia Shanoy, India. Helena Bui, California. And Emily Teramoto, California. Alexandra Peterman, New York. Kirby Cotino, Montana, coded by her father, Dr. Newton Cotino. Chloe Johnson Hyde, Pennsylvania. Zehan Mistry, California. Sarang Perumal, Texas. Hanish Polavarapu, New Jersey. Anthony Petrillo, Georgia. Dajut Ajin, Ohio. Louis Aaron Thomas, Michigan. Yash Patel, Georgia. Is it unbuttoned? I want to unbutton it. Benjamin Balin, coded by his father, Dr. Arthur Balin. Lyndon Nicholas Raby, coded by his mother, Dr. Amy Raby, United States. Vishal Parikh, New Jersey. John Amato, New Jersey. Adeoluwa Sugunle, Nigeria. Harrison Koss, Florida. James Goen, Texas. Rachel Underwood, California. Aaron Rodriguez, California. Christine Nguyen, California. And Justin George, California. Amanda Hydausen, California. Melanie Samord, Ontario, Canada. Brianna Crilly, coded by her mother, Dr. Teresa Carilli of the SGU class of 1985. Evan DeMonte, Texas, coded by his father, Dr. Franco DeMonte, Houston. Pooja Shah, New Jersey. Dean Mellis, Missouri. Miriam Echeverria, California. Sahana Prabhudeva, Florida. Mojio Yanola Fadero, New York. And Shika Boisha, Nebraska. Nadia Maksud, New York. Nicholas Antalis, Ohio, coded by his father, Dr. John Antalis, USA. Joshua Shemtab, New York. Stephen Kwong, Michigan. Mir Sulaiman, Pennsylvania. Albert Hanna, Texas, coded by his father, Dr. George Hanna, United States. William Peterson, Florida. Andrew Cross, New York. Andrew Zanella, Maryland. And Ribal Salam, Oregon. Jason Starr, New York. Neil Anderson, Utah. Edna Constance, Dominica. Victorianne Manning, Louisiana. Sareen Amar, Florida. Mark Skaggs, West Virginia. Eric Lamb, California. Armen Agrzarian, coded by his mother, Dr. Aruchanyan, USA. Thank you. Haruchan Jabrarayan, California. Courtney Collins, coded by her uncle, Dr. Tom Martins, USA. Sarah Medley, Florida. Timmy Dong, Ohio. Edwina Alag, New Jersey. Megan Foley, Kentucky. Emily Esposito, New York. Taylor Brady, Connecticut. Haley Blend, Florida. Lauren O'Laughlin, Connecticut. Christopher Boyette, New Jersey. Nicholas Coppola, Connecticut. Michelle Odita, New Jersey. Rachel Penamudi, Florida, coded by her mother, Dr. Beulah Penamudi, USA. Ashwini Reddy, Illinois. Emma Sands, Florida. Rakan Haddadin, California. Felicia Mysuria, New Jersey. Tiffany Vanderlip, California. Sarain Kajani, California. Abhilasha Vermani, Toronto, Canada. Hannah Tarif, Maryland. Sarika Kokate, New Jersey. Javita Anthony, New Jersey. Nazanin Aflak, California. Sarah Bakvar, California. Eileen Tanitanuan, Kentucky. Christina Sneed, Indiana. Joey Jackson, Texas. Theodore Conover, New Jersey. Urchid Bhatia, India. Amran Almanrani, New Jersey. Victor Reyes, California. Napondo no Esamoto, Maryland. Kishan Patel, Michigan. Saeed Mubashir, New Jersey. Carlos Sanchez, Florida. Jessica Zavala, California and Mexico. Kyle Weinstein, Texas, coded by his father, Dr. Gary Weinstein. And Ricardo Rojo, Texas. Howard Sabga, Trinidad and Tobago. Jonathan Sowanis, Egypt. Yasha Jayan Lodha, India. Shagun Kular, Canada. Ruthra Raji Gowda, Georgia. Jervis Livingston, India. Joshua Wright, Virginia. Ginger Sanders, Maryland. Tiffany Smith, Georgia. Neely Politano, Colorado. Raga Kanakam, Florida. Ryan Hawken, New York. Shadane Lati, New York. Chuka Ananye, United Kingdom. Tiffany Mayas, New York. Eden Ortal, New York. Autumn Lachelle, New Jersey. And Sutman Londano, Florida. Medina Gonzalez Funes. Jimmy Dean? Jean Medina. Okay. Jean Medina Gonzalez Funes, Florida. Berta Ioza, New Jersey. Kyle Polimis, Florida. Jeannie Aurora, India and Ontario, courted by her mother, Dr. Manil Arora, Canada. Chanpreet Mangat, British Columbia. Saloni Rampal, North Carolina. Primala Parmar, California. Sanskriti Saxena, Colorado. Nikita Singh, Sweden. Nilay Kumar, Maryland. Itawan Akinbari, California. Moza Hamoud, Kenya. Neonika Fernandez, India. Watata Twalyapelo, Botswana. Navdeep Gill, Wisconsin. Devi Mahadeo, Trinidad and Tobago. Vicky Fletcher, Grenada. Wait for that one. Mohammed Bhutto, Pakistan. Priya Bhakta, Arizona. Lakshmi Andhra, Illinois. Timothy Schultz, Minnesota. Masam Abraham, Texas. Fatima Alam, New York. Josh Lewis, Maine. Sophia Wynn, California. Priya Panesar, British Columbia, coated by her brother, Dr. Darshay Panesar. Christopher Leslie Crum. Christopher Michael Crum. Wisconsin. David Kalimendik, Illinois. Shannon Zinn, New York. Arsen Kakijan, California. Brianna Dade, Pennsylvania. Eugene Kim, Republic of South Korea. Utkarsh Vaishnav, India. Caroline O'Farrell, Maryland. Danielle Nasuti, Pennsylvania. Alexandra Stanford, coated by her father, Dr. Greg Stanford. Virginia. John McGuire, Michigan. Dennis Ramdas, New Jersey. And Ronnie Sala, Michigan. Amber Richardson, Pennsylvania. Maxwell Doherty, Wisconsin. Shandy Patel, New York. Mina Elmiri, New Jersey. John Salama, New Jersey. Sama Temer, California. Marina Habib, California. Helena Awada, California. Chantal Waba, California. Chetna Sharma, Ontario. Noel Messina, Florida. Sarah Syed, New Jersey. Emily Yen, coated by her father, Dr. Hong Yen. Thank you. Anjali Rajaratnam, New Jersey. Kristen Natoli, New Jersey. Sarush Yastani, Pennsylvania. Balking Akibayobi, Nigeria. Dina Sadek, New Jersey. And Moyanalawa Femi Gage, Nigeria. Congratulations to all.
At this time, I invite the students to stand and recite aloud with me the professional commitment listed in your programs. This commitment was written by a student task force in 1995 and has been recited at each of our School of Medicine White Coat ceremonies. Today is the beginning of my medical education and training as a physician. I acknowledge my responsibility to continue the pursuit of knowledge and understanding until that day when I will cease to be a practicing physician. I am entering training for a noble profession in which my interest must always be subservient to those who may seek my assistance. I must be ever conscious of the value of my fellow health professionals and treat them with respect at all times. My classmates at St. George's University are now my colleagues, and I owe to them the same support and encouragement to achieve their goals as I hope to receive from them. I will work alongside my colleagues and professors with tolerance, compassion, and honesty. I acknowledge my obligation to adhere to the University Honor Code and to conduct myself with integrity and in an ethical manner at all times henceforth. I shall do all within my power to show in myself an example of all that is honorable and good throughout my medical career. It is a privilege to have been given the opportunity to become a physician. May I be ever conscious of that privilege and never abuse it. Please be seated. On behalf of St. George's University, I would like to thank the Arnold Gold Foundation for the Humanism in Medicine pins placed on each student's white coat. Thank you, students, families, faculty, staff, and administrators for your support and presence at this ceremony. You are all invited to a reception at the Lewis and Marion Modica Hall. Please remain seated and keep the aisles clear until directed by the ushers. Thank you again for joining us today.